News, your one-stop shop for all things Etsy related. Well, one-stop video for all things Etsy related. And we have got a lot to talk about. Some Etsy glitches, some Etsy tests, some dodgy Etsy sellers, and something I probably shouldn't be talking about yet, but I'm gonna. Let's get into this. So. Firstly, let's talk about this glitch. I don't know if anyone saw it. This is for their Father's Day sale. I'm not even sure how this happened, but so for these Father's Day offers and all these kind of offers, Etsy promote it to you to say, if you get involved in this promotion, then we might market you to other people. Bear in mind, with any of these things, there are millions of sellers on Etsy and only a few shops that Etsy can highlight. So don't do these sales because you think you're going to get featured on Etsy. The chance of that is really quite low. Do these sales if they work for you. But this one is a minimum spend to get a certain amount of discount. So this looks like an interesting discount because this seller had actually set up 25% off when you spend $150 or more. However, quite a lot of people discovered when a buyer bought from them, they were getting 25% off when they spend $1.50 or more. So, yeah. Basically, it meant their whole shop was on sale, and this was not what they'd aimed for, because obviously doing a discount for something when it's more expensive, when people have maybe had to add 3 or 4 things to the cart, that's a much easier to deal with than just putting your entire store on discount. So, some people suggested, what happens if instead of $150 or more, you put $1,500 or more? That makes sense, doesn't it? Would that roll up and put it with the Etsy glitch? Would that let it be the $150? You won't believe what happened. People are telling me when they added the extra zero, what did Etsy do? Discount 25% off when you spend 15 cents or more. I don't even know how they set up the code to mess up in that spectacular fashion. It's like the bigger the number you put in, let's give them the smaller the number. Anyway, so check your Father's Day thing. Apparently, Etsy chat is roughly telling people there's not a lot they can do. They can either live with it or they can switch it off. If you switch it off, it doesn't look like you can create another offer to get included in this Father's Day thing. So I don't know what you would want to do here. It's up to you. Let me know if you were affected by this and let Etsy know you were affected with it. I'm sure they know, but the more people they get telling them, then the better. And also, maybe if it's really hurt you, kick up a stink and ask for your money back there, because it's cost you more money than you'd anticipated. Don't know if you've got a chance of it, but worth a try. Yeah, do better, Etsy. This item, we'll look at the picture on the left, was an item for a kit for needle felting that Etsy sent me in a mail out. Now, I know that Etsy say they're working on this. They're working on systems to make sure that the items that customers see, so that's the front page in search, Etsy pics, Etsy mail outs, all this kind of thing, shouldn't be things that they shouldn't see. This is a do better Etsy and do better sellers, because this is a kit that you can make a needle felted fox. Now, this image is all over AliExpress. This is all over Temu. This is all over everywhere. And there's several sellers on Etsy also using this same image. And I know this seller isn't the owner of this image. They didn't take this image. They didn't create that item. I'll tell you why in a second. So I did report this. I don't report shops very often, but hey, if I just sit back and complain about it, then I'm not being part of the solution as well. I checked this seller out. They have YouTube videos. They can felt reasonably well, and there's nothing wrong with selling the kit. And if you look in the middle, this is one of the photos from the listing. This is actually a step in their process of them showing you how to make the item. That's not a happy customer showing you what they made. This is what they're making. Now, if they'd photographed that nicely, that would still be cute to say, hey, get a kit and you can make this kind of item. Yeah. But, well, firstly, it's not representative. If you buy the kit, you are not going to be able to make that item. Even if you had the skill level, there's just some real little details here in that, first of all, the eyes are incorrect. If you look on the picture, you can just see a hint of like amber. So that is amber eyes with a pupil, which are different from these what look like round eyes on a wire, give a very different effect. It doesn't look like, part of what's adorable here is how the fox's mouth is created. I've tried that. It's hard, but really, really cool to do that, to give that little tiny smile, and also the eyelids, and that gives it such a melting expression. There's also the way it's made to be fluffy. That is a certain skill in needle felting. And if we compare the two, the colours, the fox red colour is not the same as far as I can see. So you couldn't make that item. There's also another reason. A reason why I know this is robbed is because I know, not personally, but I've followed the creator of this type of work for a very long time. She's on Instagram. You should check her out. Lady Aramanova. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but search for that. Her work is amazing. And you can see, hopefully you can see, well, if you compare the left image with the center or the right image, which one's more likely to be the creator of the image on the left? So there's another reason that the kit you're getting cannot create that fox. If we look at the size, like, that fox is much bigger, so you can put more detail, and things look different on a bigger item. So if you're making a fox that's about the size of your palm, it's going to be very different from a fox that's about a foot. So that kit is not going to have enough raw materials to make that item. It annoys me. The reason I know this creator is, many years ago, she made a bat, a beautiful bat, which got stolen by dodgy companies, and the stolen item went viral, and many, many people purchased that. I think it was a ridiculous price. It was like $20 for the bat, and they were expecting her work, which takes weeks. And obviously they didn't get it. But when they went back to the company, I think the website had been shut down, obviously. So what do? Oh, you search Google, you find the artist, you message the artist. So she is getting hundreds of messages from people saying, where's my bat? Where's my bat? And she's like, I didn't sell you a bat. So she felt terrible. So yeah, she's well aware of these issues that happen to her work, and it's so annoying. Now, Etsy says, like, if you're selling digital downloads or something, you can use mock-ups or things to give an idea of what the item could be. So your listing photo on something like that doesn't have to be exactly the finished piece, especially in a kit. The finished piece can't be what the customer's going to make, because the person making the tutorial has different skills. However, you can't steal a copyright image to say, I'm giving you a kit to make this thing that the seller doesn't have an actual clue what really the creator used to make that kit. What type of wool, what armature, yeah. Anyway, do better, everybody. Has the bestseller badge gone? A few people messaged me with this one. It looks like Etsy's changed from bestseller to popular now. Let me know what you think about it. Personally, I think it's kind of good, because if you've got a shop that's been around for, ooh, we're almost coming up to 20 years, not quite, but yeah, if you've had a shop for that length of time, the item that is your best seller could, the one that sold the most could have been around for a very long time. So it's likely, we were never told the criteria, but it's likely that bestseller didn't mean best selling of all time. It's likely to be based on a time frame. Otherwise, it's completely unfair, and things that, if it helps buyers buy more, it'll mean that things that were sold by people who started Etsy many years before you ever started are always going to have a bestseller, because they're all, it's hard to catch up to them if they've got that kind of advantage. So it was likely they were based on time. And now they've put popular now, which I think is a little clearer. It's saying, this is trending now. This is the cool thing at the minute, rather than this is the seller of all time. It sounds a little bit more funky than bestseller, doesn't it? Hopefully it'll help customers. Oh yeah, that's popular. I better buy that. I can see sellers might not like it, because they'll get the feeling that it shows their competition what's their most popular things. However, look, you shouldn't be using competition, shouldn't be a case of finding out what's selling best for people and trying to copy it wholesale. It's more nuanced than that, because the people who are selling the best things, they're getting the most reviews, they've got their listing quality scores building up and up and up, so they're more likely to rank in search and everything. But what you can look at is like a style. This was just on one page that I saw, and it's like, oh, cute, stylized kind of cats. That's doing, that kind of style. Do I have anything like that? Might be a good time to try and sell it, but without trying to copy the top sellers. Right, this I kind of like. Possibly Etsy's being aware of scammy sales practices, scammy putting things on sales practices. Some shops will double their price to be able to show it as a 50% sale all the time. That is likely illegal in many countries. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but here is my understanding. In several countries, the UK and the US, very likely. In my understanding, yes, but I'm not giving you legal advice. In several countries, basically, the law is something around the lines of, if you want to sell an item at such and such price off for, say, 30 days, the item has to have been on sale at the full price for an appreciable amount of time. Most lawyers seem to be working on the theory that the appreciable amount of time is at least the same amount of time. So if you want to put something on sale for 30 days, it has to have been at its full price for at least 30 days. So that's a scammy practice. And also, like, customers coming to Etsy, if you go to Temu and you see it says massive 60% off sale, you're like, aye, right. This is not. And even, I was going to say the countdown on Etsy is probably a good thing. It's not, because we're all tired of those countdowns. We're all aware it's a stupid marketing ploy. It says sale ends in this amount of time. And quite often those counters are only started when you click on the link to the website. And every time you go back to the website, the sale ends at the same amount of time. So we're used to this being a scammy thing. But I like this new markdown, biggest sale in 60 plus days. So if you don't put up a sale very often, if this is telling the customer, hopefully, if it's correct and it's working, this is telling the customer that in 15 hours, that sale, which is unlikely unless they slash the price. Hey, that's an interesting thing. If you want to keep doing scammy sales, and it's legal, you could do a build-up sale. So you could start at 10% off, and then the next week, the next sale could be 20% off. That's a Dutch auction or something, isn't it? There's a name for it. And then it would always say biggest sale in 60 plus days, but watch that you're not having too much of a sale going on. So that's a fun thing. But But yes, it gives the customer hopefully the idea that this is actually a real sale. This isn't all the time. This is a real sale. And then if it doesn't say that on other listings, you might just be like, it's that kind of a seller, is it? Right, a few people spotted this. This is interesting. Digital download. A few listings are showing up, digital downloads that have options for variations. Now, when I went into my listings, when you try and create a digital item, it does not give you an option for variations. So I don't know if they found a glitch or if it's a test or if there's some kind of tool that's got to work around dodgy backdoor. I don't know what's happening there, but it's interesting. I mean, in this user's case, it's a license type. So I think if I remember correctly, it was basically like personal use, commercial use. And that's good because you should pay more if you're buying something for commercial use because you're intending to sell it to multiple people. So that seller has reduced their potential market, as it were. And if you're just buying it for yourself, then they've sold it to one person. So yeah, I think that's not a bad idea. I don't see why digital shouldn't have variations. The only reason I can think is that Etsy didn't bother putting in the system that you can download different files depending on which variation you buy. Let me know what you think, especially you digital sellers. New test. We know Etsy does seem to have been trying to sort out the customers trying to scam other customers in their messages on Etsy. People messaging, pretending to be Etsy, and poor customers falling for that and losing lots of money or losing their shop. So one of the things that Etsy did was to automatically put what they considered suspicious messages to spam. We've spoke about this a few times, but people are not knowing. Etsy didn't tell us they were going to do this, or they didn't tell us anywhere that I saw. So people didn't know this, and then suddenly a few days later they were checking their spam and being like, oh, there's a message from a potential customer, not spam, let's put it into my inbox and reply to it. And then Etsy was going, that took longer than 24 hours. Right, so you're going to lose your star seller now. So last week somebody let me know that cool. Etsy is reinstating her star seller and they've sorted out that issue. If you take a message out of spam, it's not going to count it as being late. So all good. And if you have been impacted, message Etsy, tell them that you've heard other people are getting their star seller reinstated and can they fix it for you? So yeah. Now Etsy appears. Now I've not had any messages from new people this week. It's all been from past customers, which is wonderful. But yeah, so now we're getting the option to choose to accept the message or mark it as spam. I don't know if you get a preview of what the message is before you do that. Kind of defeats the purpose if you do, but how do you accept the message if you don't know, or how do you spam the message if you don't know what it's about? Yeah, I have to dig into this some more. Right, old new news. Past couple of weeks, there's been a lot of buzz talking about they're seeing videos in their listing reviews from customers. Very cool. People are happy. And I thought when I was hearing it, I was like, is this not been a thing? Have I been hallucinating? And I just assumed it was my memory being rubbish or something. I'd thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool if this was a thing? But people are talking about it as a new thing. They haven't spotted it before. And then I seen this. I got tagged in a post about this. Thank you so much. We're testing video reviews, and there's a thing, and my shop has video reviews. Have a look into it. So yeah, really interesting. However, then I was going like, oh, cool, they're telling us about it. The article was 2 years ago, but oddly enough, things are only popping up now. When they said in this, though, since we're fine tuning this feature, video reviews will only be visible to you for the time being. Maybe they're making them live now. I don't know. But anyway, I think video reviews are a fun thing. Let me know what you think. I mean, of course, people's videos could be awful, but it's authentic and it'd be cool. I would love to see like a video review of someone when they've gifted your item to someone else. Oh, that would be amazing. Anyway, and here's a new thing that's not new, but it's changed. So Etsy are making it sound like a new thing. Encourage shoppers to spend more with a new kind of discount. Encourage buyers to purchase more by setting a shop-wide minimum they have to spend before qualifying for a discount. So this is the same as the Father's Day thing, kind of, but you don't have to just do it for Father's Day. So spend over $150, get so much money off. Don't know if that's got the same glitch. Interesting, just thought of that. But it's not necessarily new because I've had in my shop forever spend over £100 and get free shipping. But I think Etsy are now going to be pushing the message a little bit more. So, spend an extra $5 and you'll get this much off, kind of thing. Which, yeah, it's a thing that other websites do. Yeah. Let me know what you think. It can be a way to upsell, so not terrible. Yeah, if your items are $24.99 and you did a spend $50 and get X amount off, then someone would have to buy three things. They're sitting at 2 cents away from that $50. No, that sounds a bit scummy, doesn't it? But anyway, it's a good way to get a little upsell. It can work. Sellers in India. Now, before we start, sellers are in India. This was a thing Etsy even mentioned a couple of years ago. It's a great potential market they're going to focus on and push into a little bit as well. Indian sellers can be great. There's scammy sellers everywhere. The worst of the ones I've seen have been from the UK and the US, to be perfectly honest. Anyway, as we expand Etsy payments to India, we're also making changes to domestic sales in Indian payments for existing sellers. Starting June the 3rd, sellers in India will no longer be able to make domestic sales in India, and India payments will no longer be available. Sellers in India will need to enroll in Etsy payments between the 3rd of June and the 31st of July to continue making export sales. I have no idea why Indian sellers are not allowed to make domestic sales anymore. That's weird. If anyone knows anything about that, yeah. But Etsy payments are coming to India, so Etsy has the potential to make a bit more money. Whatever Razorpay isn't going to be getting the cut. Etsy's going to be getting the cut. But Etsy sellers, be aware of this. I hope everything's okay with that. That's weird. Etsy are testing out giving buyers the option to request their refund via Etsy Credit. We're experimenting with a new way for buyers to get immediate refund for their purchase in the form of Etsy Credit they can put towards their next order. With Etsy Credit, buyers can shop for something new sooner. This doesn't change anything in your workflow. You'll process refunds in the same way you do today. So no different for us, but customers can say, no, give me the money back to my bank or give me Etsy Credit. Now, I'm kind of going to do an old woman rant here because to start with, I was like, what? Why is that a thing? How is that any good? Why would you want Etsy Credit? I can see why Etsy wants to give out Etsy Credit because then the money's still staying in Etsy. But yeah, I realised it's because the Etsy system kind of sucks. And this might just be based on what works for some countries. But in the UK, you can get, I've not had a refund from Etsy, but in the UK, you can get your money immediately. If something was refunded to PayPal, I can either spend that PayPal money immediately or I can transfer it to my bank immediately. There's like no delay. And the same, you can do bank transfers and everything immediately. There is no reason for a delay. But yeah, when Etsy decided to do their Etsy payments, for those of us in the UK, this was a step backwards. This was less convenient because now we have to schedule when we get our payments, and it takes Etsy till the next day to give us our money. So it's the term is enshittification. Well, it's not, but I'm using it in this way. But it just seems everything's getting worse. Yeah, payments take longer, cars and heating is more rubbish than it ever was. We're going backwards. We thought the apocalypse, the dystopian future was going to happen in a big step, but it's just like things are getting worse. Sorry, old lady rant. Okay, this is the bit that I probably shouldn't share with you, so I'll share with you the bits that I can share with you. When you're emailing with Etsy, they do say to keep the communications private, so I'm not going to cover anything, but I am emailing with Etsy. I'm allowed to say that, I think. We'll find out. But this is to do with duplicate content. This is to do with Etsy customer support. This is a video I made a few months ago on the thing. Let's do the history for everyone who's missed it. So, when Etsy started gift mode, they created an article very similar to this about how to get your items ready for gift mode. And part of it said, help buyers discover the great gifts in your inventory by making an easy to browse shop section. Want to put items in more than one shop section? Create multiple listings. But then a couple of days later, there was the gifting, part of the gifting webinars, there was a Google SEO one. And when we say Google SEO, it was the Google SEO expert at Etsy. This wasn't from Google. People get confused by that. Not sure if that's deliberately so. Anyway, so the Google expert said not to have duplicate listings because that kills your SEO. Search engines don't like it, and that's you next. So it seemed like that was dodgy advice, basically. Somebody was giving conflicting advice there. So I messaged Etsy about it to get the correct answer for everybody, because I prefer not to speculate. I prefer to have the right answer. It can just be difficult to get the right answer. And I had a terrible experience in Etsy customer support. You should go and watch that video. But basically, it started off with them telling me that my entire shop was in violation of Etsy policies. Right. And then, after quite a bit of back and forth and me showing them policies and asking for clarification and fighting my corner, complete 180 and said it wasn't. But I never really got an answer to the question that I asked. So I made a video about it. And Etsy got back to me. Etsy saw my video and got back to me. Now, I can't tell you a whole lot of what's going on there. I can tell you I don't quite have an answer yet. They're still getting back to me with the full answer, and I don't have permission to share what we've spoke about yet, but I will be pushing to get that permission. However, there has been a change to what Etsy is now saying in their articles. I can't say whether that has anything to do with the chat we've been having. But as this is live on Etsy, I'm allowed to share this bit. So Etsy have changed things. They've added a note here. I'll be honest, I don't think it fully clarifies things. Let me know if I'm missing something here, but I don't think this is answering the question, but it's a step forward anyway. So, note, this approach is geared towards simplifying navigation within your shop and will likely work best if you're already bringing in direct traffic and looking to prioritize potential conversion. So to me, this is sort of saying that categories are not for the algorithm. Categories make it easier for customers to find things in your shop, so that might increase conversion within your shop because you're making your shop more shoppable. I've said shop a lot. Hope that makes sense. So based on the latest guidance from our search content team, multiple listings are most appropriate when the listing items may be similar but not identical, in order to avoid creating duplicate content as it relates to search engines. So again, they're not explaining what duplicate content as it relates to search engines is, and they're not saying if it's Etsy search or Google search, because at the end of the day, if we've got something that helps us in Etsy that Google kind of doesn't like, I would prioritize the helping us in Etsy and be aware of Google not liking it for the one day later when you're building your own website, if that makes sense. So you want to be mindful of the potential impact of your current goal is increasing your reach. So I like there that they're mentioning the two things that people often muddle up. When Etsy gives advice, it's not always giving advice to say you'll rank higher. So they're saying, here's a thing you could do if your priority is conversion. Here's a thing you could do if your priority is reach. But they're not saying if it's reach within Etsy, is this going to hurt us within Etsy, or is this just maybe going to impact Google slightly? Because of course the Google search engine doesn't want to. If someone searches for something, people used to create identical websites. That doesn't mean that Google's going to go, oh, both these are equally as important to the search query, so we're going to show both, because that doesn't help the person searching get a good answer. It just shows them the same thing. So Google at least isn't going to show them both there. But it's not saying, does this mean that Etsy goes, oh, these are duplicates, we're going to nix you in search? These are duplicates, we're only going to show one of your items in search? Or Etsy doesn't care about duplicates? It's not telling us that. So that is interesting, at least. But we need more clarification. I've asked for more clarification. Let me know if I'm being dumb and you can see this and this has absolutely cleared everything up. And we have an example. Let's say you sell bunny ear headbands. If you have certain styles that are very Halloween or Easter themed, like one pair of bunny ears is orange and black and another pair is pastel coloured, you may consider creating separate listings and optimizing them for different occasions across your titles, tags, descriptions, and photos. Ideally, separate listings highlight significant differences between the items. Now it's a good thing, kind of saying you could have had these as variations, but Etsy is recommending, well, not recommend, but they're saying you can have them, create multiple listings to focus on different things. Absolutely great. But it's not really clearing up. If you had those pastel themed bunny ears, could you have a listing that had those pastel themed bunny ears but focused on bachelorette hen parties, and another one that focused on Easter, and another one, I don't know, focused on another similar thing you could use it for? So it's not identical listings, it's an identical item. Is that different enough? How different is different, if that makes sense? But that's where we're at just now. At least I think it's a step forward, in that we've got a step forward and changes have been made. Personally, I don't feel anything's cleared up, but let me know. Apart from the fact I don't think, well, they're still saying create multiple listings, but it still specifically says, want to put an item in more than one shop section, create multiple listings. So they're not saying don't. Let me know what you think. But anyway, that's it for today. I will be not creating an Etsy news next week because I'm doing something fun, which I'll possibly tell you all about. But keep your comments, suggestions, and everything you see from Eatsy coming in, and we'll hopefully have an extra big one in 2 weeks' time. Have a great time, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.